A Silverlight out-of-browser application is one in which the user goes to a website, right-clicks on the Silverlight application, and installs it on his computer, either Windows or Mac. When he wants to use the application again, he doesn't go to the website, he just clicks on an icon on his desktop or in his Start menu. In this lesson, I'll show you how to create an out-of-the-browser Silverlight application. So as an out-of-browser app, I'm going to make a little useful application here. I'll show you how it works. It's a website, a Silverlight website, and it gets its data from a Google's Doc document. So here we have, for instance, in the Google's Doc, buy C# book, and we find here under things to buy C# book. We see some quotes, casts are a way of telling the compiler, etc., and here it is. And here's a quote down here, and it's listed here. And the same thing with things to do. Ask James, ask James. And the cool thing about this little app is that if you add something to do, go to post office, I do Control S, reload, and it's in my list of things to do. And what's even more cool is your users can right-click, install this application on their computer on a Windows or a Mac, and then they can close their browser, and they can use the application as they use any other application. They close it, and they can go down here, for instance, and go up here and say right-click, pin to taskbar, so they have it here in their taskbar. And let's say we add something, some to do, wash, close, and they open it. They see that entry in the list. So I'm going to show you how to use Visual Studio to build this app. So go ahead and start Visual Studio and say New Project and Silverlight Business Application. We'll call it Info Tracker and click OK. And it'll build for a while because it has a lot of files from the template. So after it comes up, you can go ahead and just click Run, and it should have a templated application for you that looks pretty much like what you want. Let me show you where to change application name, for instance. We want to change that to Info Tracker. Notice that here you have the Silverlight application here and the website that hosts it here. And the application name is actually in the website that hosts it. If you go to Services, you need to go into Assets and Resources and Application Strings. And here's where the application stores the strings that it uses. So change this one to Information Tracker. And we can close that, yes. And run it again, make sure that worked. Yes. So now, that front page that we were on was called Home. So what you want to do is in your Silverlight application, go into Views and find Home. And this is the XAML for it. I'm going to put in some of my own XAML inside the Content Stack panel. And if you remember from the application that we just looked at, this is the big button on the left, right here. And then we have the left column and the right column. So now let's go in the code behind and put in all the C# that we need to run this application. So this is a page class, as we can see here. And this is the constructor. So this is where everything's going to start. We're going to take out the code that it had in there. Initialize component we need to leave. And we're going to say load data, which is our own method that we have to create here. And here it is. And what we're going to do here, we need to save our XAML file so that it knows that these elements are there. Sometimes you have to start it again. So now it recognizes column left, etc. Web client needs system.net, then it'll be happy. And this we need to create too. I can copy that in. Or for now, let's just do the Visual Studio support there. So it created it. And URI that needs also system. Okay, now it's happy. So what this method is doing, load data, is it's just clearing the left column and the right column. And then it's putting this text loading into the button and making the button non-clickable. And then we have a web client proxy, or a web client object, which is called proxy. And what we're doing with that is asynchronously loading the data that is coming back from this URL. Now, we're loading a Google document, which is actually this, but you can't access the Google document directly with asynchronous loading from Silverlight. So what I do here is I built a little website that will take a URL, and then from the website, it'll go to Google Docs, get the text, and then pass the text back. In any case, we get our text back. But what this is just saying is that we need to start loading it. And here we're responding to an event when this full string is downloaded, then go do this. So before I copy in that code, I'm going to copy in a library that I have. And it is basically called helpers here. And it has a lot of classes that it uses that I need to put in the using statements for. This one is link. So now it's happy. And these are just classes that help the code in the main application a bit cleaner. And now we need to handle the event when the string is downloaded, and that is this code here. And what we're doing here is when the string is downloaded, then we make the button clickable again, and then we put the downloaded string into a variable loaded text. Then we convert the string block that we got with new line characters in it into a collection of lines or strings. And then we have our collections, the things we want to buy, our to-do list, and our quotes. And then we just go through the lines. And we break up the part where it says, for instance, buy, colon, and then what it is to buy. This splits it up on the colon. And the first part is the kind, or buy, to-do, or quote. And the second kind is the content, whatever is after the colon. And we just add to our collections here. After we're all done, we clear the left column and display the sections by sending the to-do collection, display the section with this title, etc. So let's go ahead and run this and see how we're doing. We get an error. Event handler button click is not found. Yeah, okay. So this is in our XAML. We have to do right-click, navigate to event handler, and it's created it for us. And all we need to do there is say load data, which is what is done when we open the page anyway. So it just reloads the data and fills in all of the information in the columns. So let's run it again and see what we have. So it's looking good. Let's open up our Google Docs file here and move this over a bit and see if when we changed information in our Google Docs file, if it changes here. So let's say I notice here that these quotes are not punctuated. Let's go ahead and fix them up like this. As soon as I press Control S here, it's saved and I reload and we see that it has gotten that new information. So let's fix the other ones. Period here and cas, that's up here somewhere. And save with Control S, reload, and now my quotes look a lot better. So let's install this as a application on our computer. We say OK. And there it is. We'll close it, shut down this, and go look for it. So it should be here, right? Info Tracker application. We'll pin it to the taskbar, so there it is. And now we can click on our application. It opens and has the information there. So I think this is a powerful example of what you can do with a Silverlight out-of-browser application. A desktop application which pulls data from the web. You could also imagine that as it loads, it pulls information from a number of web services or other data files on the web or inside a company, creating a rich mashup of data, all in an application that can be installed on Windows or Mac computers simply by right-clicking a web page.